Welcome to the philosophy of AI. We're going to kick off this video with the most fundamental question. Are machines really intelligent, or can they be? For so long, the Turing test was the measurement here. Can a machine fool you in a chat conversation that it's actually human? Now with large language models, they generate human-like text. Even AI detection tools can't reliably distinguish between human and AI text. So we're basically past that in the research. It's passing more than half the time. It's going to continue to get better. So what does intelligence actually mean? We're going to look at that theory, a couple of questions about it, a lot of interesting things to consider. Okay, so this is all the way back in 1950. Alan Turing, one of the fathers of computer science. So he was trying to figure out, are machines actually intelligent? And it's so hard to define what intelligence is. So he took a different approach. Instead of defining intelligence, he looked at it from a behavior perspective. If I can have a chat conversation with two different parties, and I don't know which one is the human and which one is a machine, that's a pretty good sign of intelligence. This is called The Imitation Game. I believe there's also a movie about it, the same thing. And so that's the basic idea from a behavioral perspective, not from an internal perspective. Okay, now fast forward many years. So John Searle put forth the Chinese room argument. Now, this makes you rethink the Turing assessment because from a behavioral perspective, what does that tell us? It doesn't tell us what's actually going on the inside. In the Chinese room experiment, it says, consider that, let's say you're in a room and someone's passing you messages through a small little hole in the wall. It's got these Chinese characters on it. And there's a Chinese speaker on the outside that's talking to you through this mechanism. You've got this big gigantic rule book, and you can follow the rule book and determine, okay, well, if this is what was passed in, then I should respond this way. It could be very complex rules, and you're running down Chinese characters, and then you send that out. And let's say you're actually able to have a conversation with the Chinese speaker, the native Chinese speaker on the outside. Okay, great. From the outside behavioral perspective, it seems like this room is intelligent. It understands the language and knows what it's talking about. But if you look on the inside, here's you with this giant rule book. Do you have any idea what you're actually doing? Are you actually intelligent in this way? And so this was Searle's argument against that. That is not a good measure, that it rings hollow, because what is actually intelligence if I don't even know what I'm actually doing? And that brings us to this big divide or debate in terms of philosophy. So is intelligence about the behavior, or does it truly require understanding? There are some critics of today's AI that say, well, it's just a sequence-to-sequence translator. It's not really intelligent. And that to have true intelligence, we actually need a world model. And there's a lot to say about that. Reinforcement learning actually works heavily in this regard because it explores the environment, the world, if you will, and then reacts to what it learns. Very similar to how humans learn, how toddlers learn when they're picking up, putting down blocks, object permanence, all of those things. So the other aspect of this is syntax over semantics. So language models, if you think about one of the main prompt engineering approaches is chain of thought. And so if it's able to generate a lot of intermediate tokens, meaning that it's kind of thinking out loud, then it uses that to increase the probability of getting to an actual answer. So is that intelligence in doing it that way? These are still probability machines at the core. So are today's AI chatbots intelligent because they can, quote unquote, think out loud? Now, there's also research to show that that can be misleading, that the model may actually be thinking something else, even though it's telling you something. So all of these things they're difficult questions, but they're things that we should be thinking about because it impacts how we use AI, how we evaluate what the answers are, and it can put into perspective these responses that we're getting. And so then to reframe that question, what is actually understanding? Is it manipulating symbols? I mean, when you are thinking, aren't you really manipulating words in your head? I guess maybe not everybody, right? Some people are more visual thinkers. So you might be manipulating visual elements, symbols, thinking in pictures. There's lots of different ways that we think. And we don't even fully understand how humans think. So it's very difficult to evaluate how a machine can think. But does it require consciousness? That's another question that we haven't even gotten into that we'll dive into later. But okay, a lot of this is theory. So from a practical perspective, does it matter? So even think about the Chinese room experiment, Searle's thought experiment. If I'm the Chinese native speaker on the outside, I'm having a valid conversation, getting good answers, maybe enjoying the chat, does it matter on the inside that how that's actually happening? Or does it just matter that from a behavioral perspective, I'm able to get to where I need to go, get the information I need, or have that conversation. So all of these are great things to think about. This video, I wanted to set the stage for these topics. We're going to dig into these in the course. It's going to be great. So hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next video.